It's been said that it's not where you start, but where you finish. I say there is no finish line. So learn to enjoy the journey. Endure the sweat, the struggle, the soreness. Embrace the daily grind and give it your all. I've made my entire life about fitness. This September, I'll be competing in the first ever men's physique Mr. Olympia Showdown. I'm Steve Cook, Optimum Nutrition spokesmodel, bodybuilding.com athlete, IFBB Pro men's physique competitor, and this is my journey from campus to Olympus. Surreal being back in my old stomping grounds. These were where it all started off for me. I lived just down the street growing up, so my parents still just live down the street. I grew up playing sports. I grew up standing here on fields like this, doing what I love to do. And after college football was over, after I was done on the campus aspect of it, I wanted to push myself in other areas. And I didn't really have that competitive outlet. I didn't have a way to push myself. And for me, the competing in the male physique category has been it. It has been a way for me to channel all my energy that I used to use playing sports and do it in a way that I was still being proactive, being very, very healthy, doing it in a way that is making me a better person. And what I mean by that is you go into the gym and you fight, you really figure out what you're capable of, just like you do on a sports field. Like when you're on a team, you figure out so many things about yourself, about working with others. And for me, the physique contests were just an extension of that. It was my way of keeping the passion and drive for sports alive. But my dad make my whole family, my sisters, my brother and me, come and have to run. And it was one of those things that I hated it at the time, because it was such a pain to come literally every day. You know, I was 6 years old, 7, 8 years old. We were working on drills, and he would always say to me, Bo Jackson we'd be running 400s, and he'd say, that was a good time, but Bo Jackson would have made it in this time. And I think, you know, having that sports background has given me, you know, a great base, a foundation. You know, people always ask me when I started lifting, and they ask me when I started bodybuilding. And I always tell people, you know, I never really lifted for bodybuilding. I lifted for sports. Because I liked what it did to my body, then I got into the physique building. Then I got into the Arnold Schwarzenegger. But growing up, you know, 7th, 8th grade, you know, my dad was having me lift. I was doing push-ups, and there's a story, you know, as I've gotten older and have been in magazines, people tend to fabricate, or, you know, they take a story and blow out of proportion. There's some truth to a lot of the stories. There was a couple times running at this track that I didn't make my time, and, you know, 8 years old, my dad saying, you know, okay, you got to run home then, and I would just be crying on the way home, running. The house is about 1.5 miles down the road, and it'd be at night, and I was 8 years old, and he wouldn't drive off without me. You know, he'd drive on the side of the road, but he wouldn't let me get back in the car unless I made my time. This is where I spent the majority of my high school time. If I would have put as much time in my classrooms as I had in here, I'd have been a straight A student. But I had football fitness. We were in the weight room every morning about 7 o'clock. And then I was a teacher's assistant for one of the football coaches on his prep period. So we would come in and we'd hit it together. But it's been a long time since I've been in here. I always talk about lifting slow is smooth is fast. You know, talk about the clean, the snatch, the deadlift, all these things. This is why sports are important, because they teach you. You know, they teach you how to lift properly. You know, you got a good coach that knows what they're doing.
One thing about Steve that I always remember is he was a competitor. he gave it his all every time he played in football, basketball. It was just incredible how competitive he is.
When he came in as a freshman, what's there to say about Steven? He always loved being in the weight room.
370 on the bench. I cleaned about 310, but that bench press, I had a hernia surgery the summer before my senior year. I think I could have hit 400.
Steve played basketball for me, and he played as a senior. He was on our state championship team, last state championship team we had in 2003. One of the things that, and it goes right back to Steve being competitive, he never let kids let down. He wasn't a starter, he didn't have a lot of minutes, but what he did have was a lot of desire and great leadership. And that's one of the reasons that team was so successful, was because of guys like Steve, who just wouldn't let kids quit. When he got his time, he took advantage of it. Just a great competitor and a great leader for us.
His senior year of basketball, you know, most guys are going upstairs and shooting around. Well, Steve would go in the weight room, get a good lift in, and then he would come out for a shoot around before games, all hot and sweaty and, you know, pretty yoked up. And so, I mean, obviously it was always in his blood. And he's one of those kids that you really wanted to see success and wanted to see him do well in whatever, because he just was always a great guy.
Early morning, I lift with the coach. You'd be in here, Coach Wiles. You'd be lifting fifth period, and then I'd come in after and usually hit some arms if it wasn't football season. If it was football season, I usually obviously had practice, but some intense workouts went down in here. This is a 1,000-pound club. You see up on the wall. So you have the bench squat clean, bench squat deadlift. That either had to be 1,000 pounds or bench squat clean and press. So bench squat deadlift or bench squat clean and press for 1,000 pounds. I made it into the 1,000-pound club as a freshman. Right there. I think I had the most total weight out of anyone by the time I graduated for those. I did the 4 lifts. I did the bench, squat, clean, and deadlift, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember being almost able to get into the 1,000-pound club with my bench squat alone. You know, I was like at 375, and then my squat was like 500. So right there is almost 900.
Just the way that he carried himself, how hard he would work. Nobody matched his work ethic. He always strived to get to a higher level. So that's what, you know, it doesn't surprise me that he's had the success in bodybuilding that he's had, because weightlifting has always been his passion.
When Steve went in the game, you knew he went in to do his job, and there were a few games that he went in and we were behind, and you know, he knew his job wasn't to go in and score. His job was to go in and play defense and get kids motivated to get back into the game. And occasionally, you know, I mean, when he got the shot, he'd take the shot and make it most of the time. So again, that just goes back to Steve's competitive nature, and I'm sure that's why he's as successful as he is today. And it started a long time ago.
Crank up that AC/DC. It was all about butt rock in here. I'm not gonna lie. It was It was AC/DC, Metallica. We had the same 3 CDs that we just would rotate. You don't need a lot of fancy equipment. That's what you had. Those body weight exercises, those free weights, compound movements, that's what gives you a good base. Also, as a kid, always push-ups. My dad was very strict. If I wanted to go over to a friend's house, if I wanted to watch TV, 50 push-ups. During a commercial break, 50 push-ups. So, you know, Monday Night Football, you know, I'd be knocking out 300 push-ups in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And that gave me the foundation, the base, to really have a very strong high school numbers. You know, have a very strong, for being, you know, 17 in high school, I was benching 370, 375 pounds. So I was very strong from the get-go because my dad had me doing all these body weight exercises. So, you know, one of the things I like telling people, the best thing you can do for your kids or for yourself if you're wanting to get strong, if you're a kid out there in high school, you know, you wanted to be that big man on campus, the best thing you can do is start with body weight exercises. Start with those push-ups. Start with those sit-ups. Start with things that are going to, you know, they're not going to stress your joints, but it's going to be a great way to just get that functional strength. So there's a lots of sprints done on this field. My senior year was all-state, running back, player of the year, living those old glory days. 24 touchdowns, about 1,800 yards. So it's good to be back here. But sadly, we did not win state. But that set the foundation for me to want to get in physique, because I started off doing it for sports, for football. I played football, I played basketball, I wrestled, I did baseball up until high school, I did track. So having the sports background, we all know, you know, it's important to be strong for these sports, but functional strength. So I like to think that I've taken that functional strength and I've built on it, and I've gone more into the bodybuilding route after I got done playing college football. So for me, taking what I learned on this campus, taking what I learned, you know, at home, doing push-ups, running the pavement road or the dirt road by my house, running that dirt road by my house was all very important for the future. And I didn't know it at the time, but you know, talking about men's physique, to me, it's having that functional body that is very pleasing to the eye, and you can't get that without having, I think, a good base physique first. It's just years of body weight exercises. So kiddos, you want a good physique that's functional, strong, looks good, body weight exercises to start off. So I think competing in the Olympia, what it means to me is being the first at something. It's very cool that, you know, this is going to be the first men's physique Olympia showdown, and there's 15 other great physiques up there on stage. And I think that at the end of the day, you know, we're all fans of the sport, and we all want to see the sport do as well as it possibly can. I've been blessed to travel with Optimum Nutrition and bodybuilding.com all over the world, and I've seen the interest in men's physique just go through the roof, especially in the last year. So for them to finally have a Mr. Olympia contest for this category, I think it shows you how fast this sport has grown and will continue to grow, just because of how mainstream and how marketable the looks of these guys on stage are. So if you're looking to compete in men's physique out there, I suggest just give it a try. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it than meets the eye, but it's not to say that it's not for you. So what is men's physique? Men's physique is a category that really looks at the full proportion, kind of going back to the physiques of the early 1900s, the 50s and the 60s. It's a way for guys to get on stage that might not want to be as big as a professional bodybuilder. You know, Jay Cutler and Phil Heath, they look great. They put in so much work. It's very admirable what they do, but not everyone wants to look like that. Growing up for me, you know, on the TV, there was Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these guys that I looked up to, and you know, I wanted to have a big, powerful physique like that. You know, not as big as the bodybuilders of today, but still having a lot of muscle. For me, it's important to stay functional, stay being able to play sports and do the things that I grew up doing. But men's physique has allowed me to get on stage and still showcase my physique in a way that I think it appeals to a lot of people. Wearing the board shorts, there's a big myth out there that, you know, men's physique guys don't train legs. You'll find that most of the guys on that Olympia stage have very well developed legs. I would say legs because of my football background, because of my basketball and just the competitive sports background that I have. Legs are my best body part. But doesn't mean, you know, I feel like I need to be a bodybuilder. You know, I love the fact that we wear board shorts up on there, and you know, it kind of brings a little bit more personality to the stage. I remember back in the old high school days, I played running back in high school. I was tailback in college, but you know, always important to me. I always said, you know, if you look good, you're gonna play good, and you know, that was my excuse to, you know, have the wristbands. And I think, you know, men's physique is perfectly tailored for those guys that like looking good, like looking aesthetic, but also having something behind it. You know, I think men's physique, it started out as something that nobody really knew where it was gonna go. I wanted to do it from the very get-go. The way I started off was I did the muscle and fitness male model search. Even before the muscle and fitness male model search, I did the bodybuilding.com Fit USA competition that was held in Boise, Idaho. And it was after I had done a bodybuilding show about 2 weeks prior to that event. So I you know, I had my da-da-da-das on, and I ended up getting my pro card in that bodybuilding show, a different federation. But you know, then bodybuilding.com announced that it was in 2010. They announced this fit body contest, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool. You know, we wore board shorts though, so it was a fitness model contest. And you know, I remember getting up there on stage, and we had freedom to kind of it was more interactive with the crowd, because there wasn't anything standard. We didn't have to hit bodybuilding poses. We could do whatever we wanted. So I hit a Frank Zane pose that to me just embodies an aesthetic physique. And after I won that, I was like, man, you know, I would love for there to be more physique contests where, you know, you could wear board shorts, you could get out there, you could have fun with the crowd. It wasn't bodybuilding, you know, you weren't in the tiny board shorts. It just fit my personality better. So after that, there was the muscle and fitness male model search. At that male model search, about 200 guys that were in the entry for that. It was a 2-day event down in Vegas at the Olympia in 2010. And I just remember thinking there's a lot of big guys, so many different physiques. It was wide open, anyone can do it. So you had everybody from, you know, the 150-pound guy that you know, was more of a runner type body, to the big bodybuilders were even doing it because it was a chance to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. You know, I went into it with my same exact board shorts on, pink and black, and I did the same thing. I practiced doing my bodybuilding poses, you know, weeks leading up to that show, dieted hard for it, and I came in looking lean but not real dry. And I just remember hitting those same type poses, standing like a classic bodybuilder to me, like a Frank Zane, like somebody with a classic physique from the 60s or 50s even. And after the first day, I made it to the top 5. We had to wait to figure out who won it the day after that, but I just couldn't believe, you know, I had a feeling. I just had a feeling. I feel like I visualized, just like I did when I would visualize scoring touchdowns on this field before a football game. I would visualize myself playing in that. I took that same thing and I visualized winning on that muscle and fitness male model stage, and I did. Like I said, over 100 guys on stage, 200 guys entered. But it's that same visualization that I used in sports, in anything I did, that carried over into that success on that muscle and fitness model stage. And it was a very emotional time for me because I'd just gone through a divorce, went back into the gym. After I won that muscle and fitness male model search, I was just so overcome by emotion because it was a long road. You know, it was all the sports that I played growing up. It was football, college football. I was not making it in the NFL. I was getting a divorce. And it was the real first success I felt like I'd had in a while. Like, you know, I had some meaning to my life. So right after that, you know, I signed with Optimum Nutrition with bodybuilding.com. I did the bodybuilding.com spokesmodel search 2 months, about 3 months. I did the bodybuilding.com spokesmodel search in LA 3 months after that, wearing the same exact shorts, won that competition as well. So it was a string of those 3 competitions that really set off my career, but I attacked them like I did the football field. For me, it was no different than going out and running in the heat or lifting weights. All I was doing it now was I was doing it for really just to get on stage. But I approached it every day like it was my my job, like it was my passion, and it was. So after I won that LA spokesmodel search, they announced that they were going to have the NPC men's physique. And I remember on that day just thinking, this sport, this new sport that the NPC is creating, was just kind of destiny for me. I felt like it had my name written all over it. I just won 3 men's fitness male model competitions that were now opening up a whole new division for guys based on these types of competitions. So I knew that it was something I was going to do. I knew I was excited about it. I remember winning the LA spokesmodel search and getting interviewed afterward, being asked about the new division, the men's physique division in the NPC. And I look back at that interview and I watch it, and you can just tell I was excited about it. So I was actually the 3rd guy to get their IFBB Pro card in the men's physique contest. And it's been a long time coming. I haven't competed a ton, but stepping on stage come September in a couple weeks, it's going to be the accumulation really of all my fitness career. And people ask me, why do you feel the need to compete still? You've won all these competitions. And for me, it's not about the competitions. It's about, just like winning a championship. It's great, but you don't play sports just to win championships. You play sports to develop character. You play sports to be on a team. You play sports for so many other reasons than just to win a championship. Now that's everyone's goal, and that's my goal in men's physique. But the reason why I love competing still is because each time that I step foot in the gym, I have purpose to push myself a little bit further. And it's really about seeing what the body is capable, mentally and physically. So I'm not going to be competing forever, but for right now, I still enjoy it. So that's why I'm going to do it.
When he was in the weight room, he would motivate other guys to try and get to a new level. Centennial teams in those days were very successful, and a lot of it had to do with Steven and his work ethic and how motivated he was to not only push himself but push his teammates to get better and improve.
He just understands what he is supposed to do and what his role is. Generally, I think in life, that's just Steve in a nutshell.
It is. It's been a long road. Lots of physique competitions, and you gotta take it for what it's worth and just have fun with it. Just like you have fun on the football field or on the sporting event. If it's not fun, you're doing something wrong. It has to be a good time. So any physique guys out there looking at the sport, wondering, should I do bodybuilding? Should I do physique? You have to look at, first of all, your genetics, but also you have to look at which one do you think you'd have more fun with. And for me, it's been physique. And I know getting up on that stage September 28th, I'm gonna do what I always do. I'm gonna have fun. So what do I think the judges are looking for in men's physique? It's been said that it's been about, classic lines, proportions. It's about having a muscular body, but not overly muscular. It's about being lean, but not overly shredded. So a lot of that comes into how you pose, how you display your physique on stage. And I tell people this all the time. Posing in physique is, in my opinion, more important than posing in bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is pretty objective. It's easy to look on stage and see this guy's bigger here, he's a little bit leaner there. It's easy to pick out a winner just from looking at it. Men's physique, however, you have so much to go off of. Is it too big? Is it too little? Is it too lean? And a lot of how you pose, a lot of it goes into how you pose. How you're able to showcase your physique to the judges is always super important because you have to know which angles you look good from. So I always tell people you gotta practice a lot of posing. It's not that simple, for yourself to get up there and walk, it has to be effortlessly. You have to know exactly what angles the judges are seeing you from, and you have to give it to them so you're showcasing your best side, or the way you're moving in between posing. It's just as important as bodybuilding.
Hey, win. Go out just like Adrian and Rocky 2 when she looks him in the eyes and there's just one thing I want you to do. I want you to win.
You think he'll do it?
Oh, hey, there's nobody that outworks him. There's no reason why he can't win the whole thing. And what's next? I don't know. He loves what he does and he works hard at his craft. There's no reason why he can't be what other people aspire to be.
What do you think about this Mr. Olympia thing he's going after? Do you think he has a shot?
I think he has a great shot. I think it's awesome. I'm very proud of Steve for, Steve the human being, but doing what it is he wants to do and going at it and doing everything that he's done, being as successful as he's been. I think it's just going to continue. And, he will compete. And he will do the very best that he can and represent Steve Cook very well.
There's no mandatory flexing that goes on stage. You walk out, you show the judges each side so they can look at your symmetry, the balance in your physique. There is no flexing though on stage. You have to keep things tight, kind of like a fitness model in a magazine shoot. You're keeping things tight, but you're looking like you're having a good time. And that's really important in men's physique stuff. And for me, the reason it fit my personality better is because I like smiling. I like hamming it up with the crowd. I like going out and making it about fun, and fitness. And for me, that is what men's physique is about. It's about being fit, but still being able to do the things that you can on a day-to-day basis that, you don't have to eat 10 times a day. You can still live a relatively normal life and compete in men's physique. Now, you're going to be training like crazy. I train just as hard as I did when I was a bodybuilder. And you're going to be eating. It's going to have to be dialed in. You're going to have to be counting your macros. But in the off season, I'm not going to bulk up 40 pounds. I'm going to stay lean. Men's physique, it's taken off because it's a much more attainable look. It's a look that every guy wants to be growing up. It's that surfer. It's, your Jean-Claude Van Damme, your Sylvester Stallone, all those guys that we grew up on TV watching. That's men's physique. They couldn't step on stage as bodybuilders these days. People like Frank Zane, Serge Nubret, Steve Reeves. These are all the guys that I look up to and try to emulate. Nothing against the big bodybuilders of today, but that's just not for me. And there's a whole lot of guys out there that felt the same way. So when the MPC and the IFBB created men's physique, it just blew up. It's like it's taken off like a wildfire. And I think that it's around to stay because it is more of a balanced look. And for me, it's been more of a balanced lifestyle. It's not about bulking up in the off season. It's about staying lean. And the amount of muscle you'd have to put on to be a pro bodybuilder, I'd have to be 60 pounds bigger. Not too many clothes right now that fit me. I can't imagine being almost 60 pounds bigger of pure muscle and finding any clothes that fit. So for me, you have to figure out if it works for you. I like being about 207 like I am now, or 205. I like being about 205 pounds on stage. That means in the off season, I'm about 215 walking around, and that's still big. 6'1", 6 foot, 215. That's still, it's for the average person, that's a big guy. But like I said, being a professional bodybuilder, you're gonna have to be a little bit bigger.
Student athletes, a big part of what we do is getting them in the weight room for injury prevention. I gotta say, I can't remember a time that Steve spent time in the training room rehabbing an injury because he was so good at all the preventative aspects of working hard and hitting the weights in order to put himself in a position to perform at a high level.
One of the things we try to do in our program is we try to make it lifelike because every day is not a great day out there in the good old world, and it's the same thing on the basketball court or the football field or in the weight room or wherever it may be. And we try to teach good life experiences out there and try to tie them together for the big picture. And again, I think Steve fit in very well in that way because he understood that not all things are going to go right every single time I do something. And there were days when he had a bad day, but he fought right through it. And there were days when we had a bad day as a basketball team, and he didn't let kids quit. He made sure they got the job done, and that's what he's all about. One of the places you could never keep him out of was this room right here.
I think Steven's greatest attribute is his humility. And I think that's why he's so successful, because somebody who's humble but yet works hard, you want to see nothing but success for them. And he came back and visited us the other day, and it was like old times, like he had never been out of Boise, that he was always, and then he started kind of getting into his stories of as far as where he has traveled and the things that he's accomplished, and he was just so humble about it. It was almost like he was talking about somebody else. So once again, his work ethic, his humility, you want to see nothing but success for him. And the thing is, he works so hard at his craft. He's one of those guys. One of the things that we always try to teach kids is whatever the great part about being an American, whatever you want to go and do, as long as you work hard and you set high expectations for yourself, which clearly Steve has done. I see he's the next Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I wouldn't be competing at the Olympia if it wasn't for, obviously, for my dad, but for people like Eric Taylor and Tom Iperspot, coaches that I had in the past that really pushed me and allowed me to develop and showed me about character. And that's what really sports brings to you. It gives you people like those men and women out there for the girls that really show you, that sports builds more than just athleticism. It builds character. Those coaches to me, have taught me so many valuable lessons that I'll take with me, that I've taken with me into men's physique, into business, into everything that I do. And without my dad, I definitely wouldn't be here. And they just, so humbled by how much support you get when you have something like the Olympia coming up from people in your hometown and old coaches to and I know they'll have some stories, and there's definitely some things that I regret doing, but or I would have done differently. But I had a awesome supporting group around me growing up, from friends to coaches that always were pushing me to do my best. And I just want to make them proud, and that goes for everyone that I do YouTube videos for or interact with on social media, bodybuilding.com, anyone who's ever seen. I want to make those people proud of what what you can do and what I've set out to do with my physique, with my life, to do things the right way, to show people that through hard work, anything's possible. And if you visualize and you train, good things happen. You might not be Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler, or Phil Heath, but there's always going to be a place out there for somebody who's working their butt off, whether it's the best personal trainer you can be, or the best business person you could be, the best high school athlete, the best coach. If you get in there and you spend the time and you really take it upon yourself to learn, sky's the limit. So the Big Man on Campus series on bodybuilding.com, I wanted to get guys thinking about what comes after the campus setting, the high school setting. What happens when you're on your own in college? You don't have those coaches, those people to hold your hand, your parents. Where do you go from that? And for me, the reason I want to talk about it is because it was a struggle for me. I had great coaches, and I got to college, and one thing I had was the weight, and one thing I had when I got divorced was the weight. So no matter what, I know that anything life throws at me, anything, I return to the weight. I return to the weight room, and there I'm really able to know what I'm worth, because I know I'm going to give 110% in that gym. I'm going to go in there every day, and I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and be satisfied with the person I'm seeing, no matter what else is going on around you. And like I said, marriages can fall apart. Your dream of playing NFL football, gone after college. Not knowing exactly what you're going to do with your life or what you want to be. Those things happen to all of us. Every one of us is going to go through something that's going to be a trial. It's going to challenge you. It's going to knock you down. And I think that gym, going in there, for me, that was the great equalizer. I knew that if I could go in there every day and just concentrate on one rep at a time, one set at a time, I was getting stronger and stronger. And just like life, you concentrate on one thing at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, and you'll get stronger and stronger, and you'll be able to get through anything. And I think that's kind of what the Olympia, why I'm doing it, why I still compete, because I love it. I love going into the gym and pushing myself every day. It's something for me to look forward to. I'm not going to always compete. I'm not going to always want to compete. But for right now, you know, it's something that really, I think, saved my life in terms of I was lost. After that divorce, after I got done with college football, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went back and I just picked up the weight, started lifting it. And, you know, everything from there is kind of just happened. And I you know, you call it fate, you call it, you know, God's plan for you, you call it whatever you want. But I feel like, win or lose, this sport, this men's physique division has given me so much. So I just want to get on stage and give back, help those guys coming up, competing, you know, always, you know, talk to people out there that have questions if I can. And I think that there's just, you know, it's a great thing to be a part of. That's Steve Cook, Soldier Nation. What do I think sets me apart, and why do I think I should win the Olympia? That's a tough one to answer, but I think that for me, it's all about creating balance, symmetry, and proportions. I go back and I think about the Greek, you know, statues, the perfect man. You know, you see a Greek statue and it's always has a nice tiny waist with biceps, calves, and forearms that are strong but not overly developed. Somebody that's gonna be an athlete. So someone like Steve Reeves pops into my mind who made sure that his body was never grown out of proportion. If one body part grew, he made sure to work on another body part to make sure that they stayed in balance. And I think that's what men's physique's all about. And for me, that's what I've strived to do since day one, even before men's physique was ever created. When I was in here in high school, I would do my football lifts, but because I didn't want to get too big in one area, I would come in and always balance it out. So I always had my mornings scheduled for my football, my power lifts, and then later on, come in and hit the curls, or I'd come in and do some tricep work, some calf work. Things that are gonna be more physically related, so things that people could see, you know. So I never wanted to be just a big blocky football player. To me, it was all about creating nice lines. Now, in college, I had to get up to 240 pounds. In high school, I weighed about 210. But that gave me the base. Those core basic lifts really gave me the foundation for a strong physique. But football training, the compound, the heavy lifts, that gave me the base physique that I would need later on in my career. So for those of you just starting out, make sure that you don't skip the squats, the deadlifts, the cleans. These are gonna give you a foundation that you can build upon later on in life when you look to compete in men's physique. I remember Boise High, broke a tackle, gonna go 99 yards and got caught. One step too slow. A lot of good memories. I just remember, and I do this before I get on stage, get so nervous, put so much pressure on myself to do well, but I think any athlete out there who's competitive, as much as they don't want to be competitive, as much as men's physique's really just about yourself, you know, you're always get those butterflies before you go on stage. But one thing I do want to talk about with men's physique, and in any kind of bodybuilding, bikini, it's you versus you at the end of the day. You can't change how you look, your muscle structure, you know, you can't change your bone structure. You know, it's such an individualized sport that's oftentimes really easy to get self-absorbed in, no matter what you do, because it's about how you look. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, it's you that have to be happy, and it's you that has to live with your physique. So how do I train? Well, my training is a variety of a lot of different concepts, and I think it's been the best way for me because I don't ever want to be just too specialized in one area. I'll do everything from CrossFit that incorporates a lot of high reps, more of a cardio style workout. I'll do some powerlifting, then I get back into my squats, my deadlifts, my power cleans. I think it's important to have a physique that is not only beautiful to the eye, but also very functional. So I'm able to bench 400 pounds. I'm able to squat 500 pounds, but at the same time, I'm not bulky in any one area. And I think, that lends itself to really looking proportional on stage, having nice tie-ins between your shoulders and your pecs, between your calves, your arms, your neck, all matching in size. And I think for me, that's always been my strong part, that I've never, even when I first came into the weight room, I never allowed myself not to train a certain body part. I made sure to train all the body parts. Now, some days it was 5 sets of 5, others day I'd go up to 20, even 40 reps, just anything to stimulate that muscle, to get it shocked into growing. And I think that's something that, no matter whether you're a beginner or an advanced bodybuilder or men's physique competitor, you're gonna wanna always be giving something new a try. Now, you can't be stagnant. You don't want to go years and years with not progressing, or you don't even want to be going weeks without progressing. If you're not progressing, you need to take a look at your sleep, your workouts, your eating habits. So many things play into this. So it's about training intense in the gym, adding weight, cutting back on rest time, adding in shocking principle techniques like force reps, negatives, supersets, giant sets. So many different ways to keep things fun in the gym. There's so many different ways you can come in and train that are, it's totally new, and every day it's exciting. So, I think the men's physique allows somebody to come in and not get caught up in the, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. It gives you a lot more leeway to do more of a cardio workout on top of it. Or if one day if I want to go run hills, I run hills. So that kind of training, I think, really has given me a competitive edge, and that it really shows up in my physique. That it's not just for the stage. My body isn't just a stage body; it's very functional too. And whether it was football, or basketball, all these things I would do and compete in, I think it's all led up to stepping on stage at the Mr. Olympia contest and having a body that is definitely both beautiful and powerful. And I think that it's win or lose, I want to be happy with my physique because I've done everything up to this point that I can do with my diet, with my training. And, on stage, you better believe I'll have fun. So look out. One thing I know from sports is that if you leave everything on the field, if you leave everything in the weight room, if there is nothing else you could have done, there's no shame in whatever placing you get in anything, in any sport you do. If you come out and only that's the beauty of it. And John Wooden talks about this all the time. John Wooden's a very famous basketball coach from the UCLA Bruins. Just an amazing man, an amazing coach. But he talks about character and how only you can judge success based on only if you're giving 110% or 100%. If you're giving 100%, whether it's the stage or the football field or anywhere else in life, you can't give any more than 100%. So if you're doing that, no matter you win, you lose, no matter what, you got to be happy with that. And that's, anything I do, I don't have to be perfect. And that for me growing up was a hard thing. If I didn't win, I always want to win, but now it's about focusing on just being the best me I can be. Not listening to, what others tell you should be doing. So many people have an opinion, and I've noticed that, as you go up the ranks in anything, people are always going to tell you what they think. And at the end of the day, you got to stay true to who you are. So, win, lose, or draw, got to be happy with the effort you've put out, and only if that effort is good enough. So I know come September, we got 2 weeks, you're going to see my best. I can promise you that. Leave no stone unturned. Leave nothing to chance. I wish I would have had that same mental toughness that I have now that I think you learn in life as you grow up. Wish I would have had that in high school. So for those kids in high school, in middle school, concentrate now, not just on the physical body, but the mental too. You got to be, it's about doing things that you might not like. It's about pushing yourself past limits. And for me, that's what competition's about. It's about pushing my body to a point that I didn't think I could do. It's about, low carbs, getting in there and still having good workouts, because mentally you're tougher than you were the day before. So, the minute I don't love pushing my body like that's the minute I stop competing, the minute I stop going to the gym, and the minute I know my grave is close.
For a lot of years now, and just looking at guys and looking in their eyes and seeing how they're doing. And Steve always had that look of determination, and you could always just kind of hit him on the pads, and you didn't really have to say anything to him. He would just know, I know what's expected of me. I know what I need to be able to do to be able to help guide my team to a victory. And I think that's what he does in his life and his career as a bodybuilder. Is he his personality is just so infectious. You love being around him. He's a fun-loving guy. He's down to earth.
One of the funniest stories I remember about Steve, and this is the basketball team again, and I remember, again, it goes back to just his leadership and him calling a team meeting when things weren't going so well, and he just let into kids, and he let them know what needed to be done. And again, that's just Steve's identity. That's who he is and what he does, and like I said, I was very proud of him then. And I'm very proud of him today. And I'll be proud of him tomorrow and the next day.
Looking around, being back at my high school field, I think about how it all started. How did I go from this campus to the stage at the Olympia? How did I go? And I get asked all the time, Steve, I want to do what you do, and you can. For me, it never was about stepping on stage. For me, it was about sports growing up. As early as 8, 9 years old, I played every sport I could. My dad would take us to the track and we'd have to run every day almost, push-ups during commercials of Monday Night Football. So I developed my physique for sports. And then once my college football playing days were over, once I had to realize my dream of in the NFL wasn't going to happen, men's physique was a way that I could continue on with what I'd built all those years playing sports, continue to compete. And it's been such a blessing for me to have that functional background, that I still do things like CrossFit. I do bodybuilding stuff, then I also do play sports. And then I get on stage and I travel around the world with Optimum Nutrition, all because of this new men's physique category that's been created. So I definitely feel blessed that we're having this Olympia, and it's so many great competitors out there. There's gonna be 16 of we're all a little bit different in our physiques, obviously, but there are 16 great physiques out there. Just so incredibly excited that the Olympia Men's Physique Showdown is happening this year. Bodybuilding.com will be covering it. But it's cool to reminisce and think about all the hard work I put into that weight room to perform on this field. Didn't just have to be for naught. I was able to have this category afterwards. I thought about doing bodybuilding for a while, but just genetically, because I'm taller, I didn't want to have to put on that kind of muscle that would, it wouldn't allow me to really live a normal life. I'd have to be thinking about building muscle night and day, more than I do already, which seems hard because that's a lot of what I do. But I'd have to be about 260 pounds on stage, and for me, that wouldn't be healthy for me. So I feel like this has been the healthiest option, and it's cool to come back here and think about all the hours spent. We're going to come down to September 28th.
I feel good about the fact, I feel great about the fact that I've been able to be a part of what Steven has accomplished. I love talking with his family about him, and because his mom and dad are still around here, and they're very proud of him. They're very proud of the things that he's accomplished, and so I think that's what people love is just being around those people that are humble and set high expectations for themselves, and they just, you know, reach for those opportunities. And that's why I've done this for 22 years. I love being a part of that.
I know that I've been retired now for 3 years from teaching, but I know when Steve was here, he had a lot of lifting records, and I don't know if they're still here. I know a lot of them stood tall for a lot of years. And, you know, we've had some kids, and, you know, that's the other thing. Everybody knows who Steve Cook is. And everybody wants to break Steve Cook's record in here, whatever it may be. And, you know, again, that's a standard that he set, and everybody else is looking to do a little bit better than, I mean, it is Steve Cook after all.
Always gotta stop and take in the scenery. Can get too busy. When I was in LA, everything was rush, rush, rush. You gotta be able to stop and enjoy a sunset like that. It's the little things in life that, you know, help you have balance. So for me, just a sunset like that in Idaho, I love it. It's who I am. Boom.